Motorman here. Since I've been doing this for, I don't know, 16 or 17 years, I get a lot of questions, most of which are answered in every one of my DVDs. Occasionally I get one that isn't. For instance, I got an email recently. A guy says, my new Harley has a self-adjusting clutch, and it's very hard to use the friction zone. Well, first of all, I don't know who told you that. They're probably a salesman, but there's no such thing as a self-adjusting clutch. What you have on your new Harley is a hydraulic clutch that has no adjustment whatsoever. It does make it a little more difficult to find the friction zone, especially if your clutch happens to grab all the way out at the end of travel. There is a fix for that, not from Harley, but from a company called hogleverage.com. They make an adjustable clutch lever. It has a little dial on it. You could set that friction zone to grab any place you want it. I highly recommend it. That's hogleverage.com. I put that on my 14. In fact, I wouldn't have bought a bike with a hydraulic clutch if it were not for Hog Leverage making the adjustable lever. That's not going to change your friction zone as far as how wide the friction zone is. What it's going to do is allow you to put that friction zone and set it any place you care to. And here's a big one. I get this all the time. In fact, I answer it on every one of my videos. The guy says, my bike has link brakes. Oh no, I can't use the rear brake to help me. Well, yes, you can. Here's how this works. First of all, on Harley Davidsons, the new ones, they have linked brakes. When you step on the rear brake, it gives you a little bit of front brake, but that's only at speeds above 20 to 25 miles an hour. Most of the low-speed handling is going to be below 20, so it has zero effect. Now, on some motorcycles like a Goldwing and some BMWs that have linked brakes, if you press too hard on the rear brake at low speeds, it is going to affect the front brake. But the idea of the rear brake usage, along with head and eyes in the friction zone, is light pressure on the rear brake. If you're putting so much pressure on that rear brake that it's actually affecting the front on your Goldwing or BMW, you're putting way too much pressure. The rear brake is just a little helper. That's all it does. It helps you to stabilize the bike. In fact, the better you get at these techniques, the better you get at the clutch and throttle, you can almost eliminate the rear brake totally when practicing. Here's another guy. I just got a new Road King, and it won't do this stuff. I've had Road Kings before. They were great, but the new 17 and 18 models, you can't. It's impossible to make 18-foot turns or any other kind of turn with it. Well, it's probably because you're just not used to it yet. You've got that hydraulic clutch, which again, they tend to grab all the way out at the end of travel. Hog Leverage is going to solve your problems. And remember that riding is 90% mental, only 10% physical. So if you believe that you can't do it, or you believe the bike won't do it, well, it's probably not going to do it. Have a positive attitude. Get out there and practice. Start with 30-foot circles and then eventually get it down to 24. And probably, you know, if you want to be at the top of your game, you should be able to turn your bike in less than 18 feet. And here's another one. It says, why do cops use Harley Davidsons? Aren't there better choices? Well, for police officers here in this country, you're going to be on this bike for a long time. You want a comfortable bike. The Harley Davidson touring bikes are the most maneuverable motorcycles made as far as heavyweight cruisers go. Also, they come with everything that we need, the switches, the lights. If you want to add additional lights, it's just a plug-and-play system. The siren, put on the amplifier, put on the siren, plugs right in. There are other manufacturers making police bikes. I've ridden some of them. BMW makes a great police bike, but personally, I prefer the Harley Davidson. Most riders do. They've been riding for years, and believe me, the captain doesn't come up to you and say, hey, what kind of bike would you like to ride this year? It doesn't work that way. They buy Harley Davidsons. We use them. No problem at all with the Harley Davidsons. You learn to maneuver the bikes. They handle beautifully at low speeds. The newer bikes especially handle fantastic at high speeds as well. So that's why we use Harley Davidsons. If you got a question, shoot me an email, motorman@ridelikeapro.com, and I'd be happy to answer your question. See you next week.